Are we live? I think we're live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to a Whetstone Wednesday, the long-awaited return to Whetstone Wednesdays. We've had a few weeks of, I think we had my masterclass, and then before that we had Sean's masterclass. And I don't think we've done one for a little while. So nice to be back and reviewing copy. If you're new, this is where I, or one of the team, reviews Patreon copy. So if anyone's a member of the Copy That Patreon, they can submit some copy they've written and we will critique it. I am going to set myself a hard limit of 2 hours for today because England are playing and I want to watch that. I will also just check if anyone is watching so far. I'm not going to bother putting out shouts to. I'll put one in the Copy That Discord actually quickly, just so no one misses it who wants to see it. But I'm not going to bother putting loads of, tagging everyone in the regular Discord. General, I'm live at everyone. Okay. So, if anyone is here and watching, can I just check that my microphone sounds okay, that everything is working as it should be, you have audio, you have access to the live chat, and that everything is working. I've only just put out the call that this is live, so maybe I should have waited to ask that question, but hey ho, we live and learn. If perfect, thank you very much. I'm afraid I don't know how to say that, but thank you very much. I am going to crack on them because I want to make sure we get through all of these, and like I say, I don't want to miss the Euros, so I will be turning off at 5 to 8. Now, let's get into this. Now, as I said, if anyone isn't familiar with how this works, this copy that we're looking at on the screen has been submitted by members of the Copy That Patreon. We have, I think, 10 or 11 to look at today. And ideally, what I like to see is some context at the top, which I don't think this one has, which is an annoying start. But usually what we ask is that people provide some context for the copy at the top of the page, and then we will review it based on how we think it is and does. I will also apologize if I'm coughing or anything during this. I've been losing my voice because I've been doing a lot of recording and talking and speaking lately. So apologies if I cough a few times. That's pretty much it. Let's just check if we've got people in. Hello, here, Kota, Hetcha, Ella, Mihar, Karen, Afifa, nice to see you all. Welcome. I'm now going to turn my attention to this copy and I'm going to give some reviews. I'm assuming this has come from Maris. And hey, look, people are getting some free advertising because they've left comments on this one already. I'm just going to drink some water so I don't die. And I hope everyone is looking forward to the game later as well. All I'm going to say, I'm not even going to say it because if I say it, it won't happen. But I think you probably know what I'm thinking. Let me just check this notification. Okay, cool, right, good. Okie doke. So, this is a sales page for a pottery course. That is the context that I have. Don't know how they have got to this page, which again, guys, if you're ever going to submit copy, please provide some context at the top just about who this is intended for, how they got on that list, and how they're going to be getting to this page, to this copy. So what have they seen just before this? For example, did they click through from an email? Is this coming from a Facebook ad? Do they already know the business? That kind of stuff really helps give context for us to provide a proper critique. Okay, pottery course sales page, let's go. Introducing the 90-minute beginner's guide to home pottery. Okay, you get all of my insights into how I build pottery from home. Video, last year my course on Skillshare pulled 501 students. All right, let's just analyze this headline complex. A headline complex is, unsurprisingly, the headline that you see at the top of a page and the things that are attached to that headline. So the subheads, what we call eyebrow copy, like this kind of thing up here. And it's the first interaction that a user has with a page. As you may have guessed, it's very, very important. So how is this one doing? Well, I don't know where the reader has come from, and I'm just going to demonstrate why it's so important to give that context. Because let's say the reader for this has come from an email because they're already part of this list and they already know this business. And they've had a bunch of newsletters from them, and now they get this email, which is basically launching this pottery course and saying, hey, like, this is a new thing for you. I thought you'd like it. You treat them very differently to how you treat someone if you were running a, say, Facebook ad for the first time for no one who knows your brand, because you need to introduce them to and maybe isn't even interested in home pottery yet, like you're not sure. So you have to introduce them to the concept of home pottery and all that kind of stuff. I don't know who this is aimed at, so I can't really give the best critique I possibly can without knowing who the person is. So I'm just going to go by assuming that this is to relatively cold traffic. Maybe I'm going to assume the person has already shown some interest in home pottery, but that they don't have a relationship with this business. Okay, that's what I'm going to assume. That's why that's probably where I tend to assume things if I've not been given context. So going off of that, do I think this is a good headline? Well, I'll show you something I like about this headline, okay? This first line, the 90-minute beginner's guide to home pottery, let me just analyze that for a second. Well, if I'm interested in home pottery, right, and I want to learn it myself, does that tell me that this product, this offer, is going to deliver that for me? The 90-minute beginner's guide to home pottery, it does. So that's good. That gets a check from me because I immediately know that why I've come to this page, the thing I'm interested in, is going to be satisfied. Not only is it going to be satisfied, you've also given me a time-bound period in which I'm going to achieve this goal. So it becomes far more real to me. You've said it's a 90-minute guide. So I know I only need to give up 90 minutes of my time and I can go through this whole guide. Great. As someone who knows I want to learn about home pottery already, or making pottery from home, that's a good headline to begin with because it means I'm connecting with the thing that I already want. I know that. Let's look below this. You get all of my insights into how I build pottery from home. So this is effectively expanding on what the promise already, or the offer already is. This is now effectively staking a promise, which is everything I know, you're going to be able to know. Now that's a powerful thing to say. Like, you're getting all of my secrets. Everything you need is contained within here. So not only are you giving me a time-bound promise saying that it's a 90-minute guide and I can learn everything I need to know, you're also now you're quantifying what I'm going to know in that it's everything. It also makes it feel a bit more special because you're learning it from me. They're my secrets. They're my insights. Great. I would word this slightly differently, but as we know, if you've watched this before, as you'll know, we like to split edits up into 3 different areas. We like to start with value edits, then we go to function edits, and then we talk about line edits. Value edits are the messaging. Does the messaging of this copy in the first place make sense? Does it connect? Does it make sense for the reader? That was the first thing I was analyzing there, asking about, okay, well, who is this for and what do they want? And does it even make sense to talk about this thing in this way? Next is function, which means, okay, maybe you've got good messages in there, but does the page need to be rearranged? Does different parts of copy need to come before other bits? Do they need to see proof before they hear about this specific benefit, etc., etc.? And then line edits are about how we would reword sentences and paragraphs just so they roll off the tongue and they're easier to read. Already I can see a few line edits here that I would say, well, I want to change that. But we're going to ignore that for a second because they're the least important, because ultimately if you promise the right thing to someone, if you say the right thing to someone, then they're going to do what you say, regardless of whether there's a comma out of place or an adjective that sounds a bit weird. So you get all of my insights into how I build pottery from home. Great. The thing that I would bring up, and again, I don't have the context for this, is who are you? Who is writing this? Do I know the person who's writing this already or not? Did the Facebook ad that led me here show that it was a skilled potter? I assume that's what the job title is. Was this person a skilled potter, or do I not know this person at all? Because depending on how much I know about this guru, this may or may not be a really good piece of copy to put in there. But regardless, it is at least promising a lot of stuff, so it makes me feel like I'm going to get everything I need. A video, cool, there's a video. It'd be nice to have context about what that video is going to be, or even a script for the video, but fair enough. And then the last bit of the headline complex. Last year, my course on Skillshare pulled 501 students. So this is just showing some proof around, by the way, this is, I've proven that this works, okay? I've done this before. I've taught loads of people. Again, if it comes to line edits, how I would change this is I wouldn't say my course on Skillshare pulled 501 students. I might change it to be a bit more in a common vernacular, so the person reading doesn't feel like you're boasting about sales numbers. Instead, you could say, like, I've personally helped 501 like beginner potters start their own whatever, like pottery hobbies or pottery businesses, whatever this is for. Because then you're just coming across a lot nicer as well, probably fits more in the brand voice that this client wants to go with, instead of just saying my course has pulled 501 students. Focus on the end goal, focus on the students achieving something, and don't just say you've pulled them. You say you've taught, you've nurtured, you've guided, what have you. So all in all, what do I think of this headline complex? Well, it's okay, it's decent. The copy itself could do with punching up for sure, but it packs pretty much everything into a headline that I want to see there for someone who's interested in learning how to make pottery from home. The 90-minute beginner's guide to home pottery. You get all of my insights into how I build pottery from home. Last year, my course on Skillset pulled 501 students. Like, you're at least getting, here's the thing, here's the offer, it's clearly understood. This is why it's such a big benefit to you. It's also time-bound, and you know you're going to get everything you need, and here's proof that it's worked. Great, that works. I can also see that someone who's already reviewed this has talked about the 4 U's, useful, urgent, ultra-specific, and unique. Is this useful? Well, yep, it's useful because I know I want this thing. Is it urgent? I mean, again, urgency is a difficult thing. It's not necessarily, there's nothing overtly urgent in this headline. You could maybe argue that the fact you can get all of this and it's only in 90 minutes shows why you should do it now, but it's not really urgent as such, so I might query that. Is ultra specific? More or less. It's talking about, it's a 90-minute guide, and you're giving specific proof on how it's helped people. So I'm not sure it quite checks all these 4 U's, but it gets at least 2 of them, maybe 3 at a push, and ultimately it's communicating what this sales page is meant to do in a very easy manner. So decent headline, could certainly do with improving the punching up of it though. Let me have a quick look at headlines. Headlines, comments, Jesus. Anyone want to join a server of copywriters? We have 2 servers of copywriters if anyone's interested in that. Hey Alex, what services to offer? Okay, I'm not going to answer any questions which are like, what should I offer as a copywriter? How do I get started as a copywriter? Go to our YouTube channel and go to the 101 series. We answer all those questions there. I'm on a time limit here. I want to try and get all of these done. I will see if I have any room for Q&A at the end. Fernando asks, hello Alex, what do you think will be the final score tonight? 2-1 England. 2-1 England. It's going to be. Okay. So there we go. That's a fairly in-depth look at a headline complex there. Could you improve this? You certainly could. Does it just about pass the decent check? Yes, it does. Certainly needs punching up, and you could be far more specific around this. It would also be good to see what this video is meant to be, because a video in a hero section certainly does a lot of the work. Certainly more so than the rest of the copy will, if the intention is for people to play the video. Okay. All in all, I became a full-time pottery artist after 16 years of trying to become one. Again, just a quick note, and this is the last thing I'll say about line edits for now. This sentence can be said in far fewer words and in an easier to read way. All in all, don't need that. First of all, that's fluff. You don't need that wording. I became a full-time pottery artist after 16 years of trying to become one. Okay. Of trying to become one, not needed. You could say the same thing. It took me 16 years to become a full-time potter or pottery artist. All right, that's communicating the same thing in far fewer words, and it's clearer and it's easier to read. So just an example. If you wanted to just rewrite that line, that's how you would do it. All in all, I became a full-time pottery artist after 16 years of trying to become one. And even better, I've put this whole course together all alone, and it's going to solve the question every beginner is facing. Stop right there. I'm now confused. This sounds like a bad thing. This doesn't make it sound like you have 16 years of experience. This makes it sound like, God, getting into pottery is so difficult, it took me 16 years. It's a really hard thing, guys. Even better, which doesn't quite make sense as a connective to that sentence, because it's fine if you want to start by saying, look, it took me 16 years, but it's not even going to take you 90 minutes. It's fine if you want to go for that approach, but that is also often what we call the... I think is it the savior archetype, where you've been there and you've done it and you're coming back as a savior to say, hey guys, look, I know what it's like. I have the answers for you. That's fine as a structure, but you're saying this is a bad thing and you're using a connective as a positive thing, which immediately has me confused because I'm thinking, wait, is this meant to be good? Am I meant to put in that time? I've put this whole course together all alone. Okay, is that a good thing that you've done it all alone, or is that just you boasting? Why are you telling me that? And it's going to solve the question every beginner is facing. How do I start building pottery from home? Let me rework this, okay? To get the same point across that you're getting across there, you could simply say, it took me 16 years to figure out how to become a potter from home. But thankfully, but whatever, you don't have to say thankfully, you can say anything. Don't worry about the words I'm saying, just listen to the message I'm getting across. It took me 16 years to become a pottery artist from home, but it won't even take you 90 minutes because I've discovered all the secrets and I'm sharing them with you right now. Or like I've discovered all the shortcuts and I'm sharing them with you right now, okay? That, in the same, probably far less space, is communicating the same thing, and it's actually making it way more exciting, and I don't need to kind of go into this like questioning facade of saying, oh, how do I start building, just kind of talking about the question that the reader is going to have. You're already starting to answer the question the reader has. They wouldn't be on this page if they didn't have this question. So do you see how I'm picking out so many bits of copy that are fluff? They're not needed. You can communicate in a far simpler way by deleting more words. And I hope you'll agree, it also sounds better as well. It comes across like you're talking to someone who is more sure of what they're talking about. Most of the comments are just about the Euros. England will win today. And if they don't, I will be sad. Okie doke. So, let's continue. How do I start building pottery from home? Lucky you won't need to spend 3 months to learn this like I did. Okay, well now you've said you took 16 years and now you're saying 3 months. Confusing. Me reading that, I'm already confused and I'm critiquing this. So if I'm trying to learn this, I'll be very confused, or trying to read it normally, I'll be very confused. Nor you won't need to spend a ton of money on equipment because you don't have to. Okay, another pause. Your English has to be up to scratch if you want to be a copywriter for English audiences, okay? I'm going to say it bluntly because I see this all the time. This is clearly not written by someone who's a native English speaker, and it shows, and it's difficult to read because of that. Yes, you can communicate this stuff. I'm not saying you need to have academic levels of writing, but what you do need to have is the ability to write as someone is used to reading. The sentences, or this sentence, nor you won't need to spend a ton of money, that's not a sentence that an English speaker would say, and therefore it's difficult for me to read. And the knock-on effect is it seems unprofessional, and I don't know if I should trust this brand now because, if they can't write, can I trust them to do this? Unfortunately, that's how readers think. So please make sure, guys, if you're not a native English speaker, that at least your copy passes the native test of someone wouldn't stop in their tracks and go, this doesn't make sense. It's fine if it's not academic. It's fine if it's basic sentences. It just has to sound like it's being written by someone who speaks English. And it's an unfortunate reality of the market, but you need to hear it here. So I'm telling you. I've been an artist in sculpture and pottery, project after project. I solved every problem I had as a beginner, so I whipped out together this 1.5-hour course in a couple of weeks. I don't know what that means there. I've intended and helped over 7,000 students in total, and they're coming from all... Again, okay, well, to be fair, you may be talking about a specific course here, and then down here you're talking about students in general, but there seem to be so many contradictions just in this first part of the copy. 501 students, 7,000 students, 90 minutes, 16 years, 3 months. This sounds bad, but actually it's good, right? There's three things there which are confusing and kind of jar me from side to side. So when I read this, it's not an easy read. Already, if I was interested in this, if I was really interested in pottery, yeah, I might be skimming through this and trying to understand what you're doing. You'd like to think that your offer is good enough that it will pull people through, but if I'm reading this and I can't really understand this, or I don't quite trust it, why would I think that this actual guide is going to be any good? It may be just as difficult to read. So, I'll just finish this bit. I've intended to help over 7,000 students in total, and they're coming from more than 63 countries, and now you can get my knowledge and apply it to your pottery. So you can start building like an artist, even with the basic techniques like, right, cycle back. I'm no longer going to go through, like kind of words and say like, oh, this like hard to read, because you already know that. What I am going to try and question now is your faculty for planning out copy. There is good stuff in this, in the sense that the headline complex talks to me directly as if I'm interested in this already, and it's very clear what I'm getting, which is good. You also clearly are trying to plan this out in a way of saying, look, there's proof here because I understand this. You're starting with effectively almost an introduction to the guru, someone sharing the fact that they have a load of experience in this, that they can now show you the shortcuts, and you don't need to spend all this time and money and energy getting all this stuff. You can start doing it already. You're clearly thinking in the right kind of way about how you would persuade someone to download this. But there are a few fundamental difficulties of this page. Number one is, as a critiquer, I don't know who this is targeting. Number two, as a reader, I'm now confused on what this is trying to do. Is this trying to just teach me how to create pottery? Is this trying to teach me how to start a business? Is this trying to teach me all the techniques of pottery? Should I already know something? Is this a complete beginner's guide? You're talking about like applying it to my pottery, like I'm already doing pottery. I'm not quite sure who this is aimed at, even as the reader. So I would go back to the drawing board with this one, and I would write down clearly, okay, who is this for? What stage are they currently at? Like, is this, and what's their intention? Do they want to start their own pottery business? Is this just a hobby? Is the first question. Then it's a question of, do they have any existing experience? Are they brand new? Do they have any equipment? Are they worried about not having any equipment? Can you even do this without equipment, as you've kind of alluded to? Or you won't have to spend a ton of money on equipment. Not sure if that means I am or not. Or if not, I'm not sure if that means I need equipment or I don't need any. Write these questions down, answer these questions just in a planning sense first, before you even write any copy. Then ask, what is the actual offer here? Clearly it's a 90-minute beginner's guide. Great. What is that offer going to fulfill for them? When they accept that offer and they finish reading the guide, what are they going to be in position to do? Make sure you have everything laid out first before you start properly drafting or writing your copy, because it's going to make it so much more effective. And then you can reread this and you can understand whether or not it actually makes sense to the reader. And right here, and this actually is a really good example for everyone watching right now, okay? We often get asked, how do I critique my own copy? Or how do I critique copy well? I can see a few people down the side have critiqued this. And one issue they're all using, they're all experiencing, is they're all just critiquing this as it is. And I understand why you're critiquing it, because you're beginners and you're critiquing what's already on the page. To get to that next level and to critique things properly, you need to critique what's not there. What I mean by that is you need to be able to see, what isn't this page doing? What isn't this message conveying that it should be? What does the reader actually need to hear that they're not hearing? Or similarly, is the reader being confused? But instead, you can see through these comments, they're just saying, okay, I'm going to use the 4 U's immediately. Then I'm going to talk about as this is boring, it's slow. Instead of just saying it's boring, it's slow, just say this, like, I don't understand this. This wouldn't make sense to a reader. Don't think that you have to keep the copy on the page. Expand on this a little more. Like, expanding on this a little more doesn't even matter, because the fundamental of the copy doesn't make sense. You could be more specific maybe. They're looking at specific things already on the page, or words, and then they're trying to just critique that. You need to zoom out, and you first of all need to ask, does this even make sense to the reader? Is this hitting on what they want? And is there actually somewhere for this to go? Is the reader going to continue reading? So that's what I would say, okay? Contradiction, idea, narrative, and line edits. I mean, the edits I always go via are simply a case of value edits, function edits, and line edits. We have, I think our last video on the YouTube channel was about that, I'm pretty sure. So go and watch that if you want a masterclass on editing. Uche says there's a lot of contradiction. Exactly, yeah. So I'm not going to read all the rest of it all the way through, but I am just going to skim this and then talk about kind of sections and function of the copy and how it does. So you can start building like an artist with the basic techniques. Pinch technique, core technique, slab technique. Okay, fine. Again, the question is, how much does this person know about pottery? Do these things make sense to them? If they are brand new, and this is meant to be showing kind of like interest, and you're meant to be kind of intriguing them into what they're going to be able to learn, I would switch back to do what fundamental bullets in copy do, which is be intriguing and talk about the pinching technique that mastered by, you know, Nepalese Buddhists over 2,000 years ago, that the best masters still use today, whatever, right? That at least makes it a bit more interesting. I feel like, oh, not only am I getting this beginner's guide and it's going to teach me this, I'm also going to get an advanced look into what the best potters do, for example. But you need to answer that question of who is this going to? Is this going to someone who already knows this kind of stuff, or they don't know any of it? They've been interested in pottery for a while, or today you have convinced them that pottery would be a good idea for a business, or whatever. I don't know. So every other technique that will align with your pottery. Here's a little roadmap of the course. We're going to start with an introduction. Okay. Here's a little roadmap of the course. Fine. Always good for an info product to actually reveal a bit of how it's structured, so people feel like they already are inside the course, they have an idea of what to do. It makes them feel more secure when they actually buy it. This is your opportunity to make the course or the guide or whatever sound so intriguing and so appealing that I couldn't possibly not now go ahead with it. One way to do that is to name the modules of the course something really interesting or intriguing, and clearly state that the things that are in there are going to be unique. We spoke about bullets just now. These in info products are very common places where you would see bullets. In this module, you will learn, and then bullet, 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 bullet. Also, of course, we often refer to bullets as fascinations. The whole point is they're meant to be fascinating the reader into getting the course. This is extremely wasteful. Here's a little roadmap of the course. Okay, fine. As a reader, I'm going to see what's in it. I want to see. We're going to start with an introduction. That does not inspire any kind of interest in me. We're going to start with an introduction. What? So every course starts an introduction. Why is this good? This is your opportunity to talk about what's inside the course and do it in a dazzling way. Instead of just say we're going to start with an introduction, you could name this like the 3 fundamentals, like every potter must know. Okay? You can say, we're going to start with the 3 fundamentals every potter just must know. Now in my head, I'm like, ooh, there are 3 fundamentals that I need to know as a potter, and I'll only know them if I get this course. Fine, all right, I should probably get this then. Okay? Instead, we're going to start with an introduction. Doesn't add anything to my life. I will show you the materials and the tools you'll be needing, as well as the basic concept of pottery. This way you won't spend money on the things you don't need for now. Then we move on to the first technique you should learn. Then we use the slab technique. Again, this now, and another sin that this is committing, is it's just devolving into, I'm just going to list out everything that's in the course and tell you exactly how we go from module to module. This stuff, and bear with me here, because it's going to sound weird when I say this is too specific. The point of revealing kind of modules on your sales page is to be intriguing. But you're just telling me exactly what we're going to do. You're telling me we're going to do the pinching technique, then the core technique, then the slab technique. That doesn't, okay, cool. Why not now do I just go and Google pinching technique, slab technique, core technique? Right, you've got to leave some fascination, fun, some intrigue there for someone who's going through this. Instead, talk about concepts, talk about the 3 fundamentals, talk about like the pinch, or I don't know what these are, I don't know if they're holds or molds, I don't know what you would refer to them as, but like the mold masterclass, like 4 videos and 30 minutes just on getting your technique 100% perfect. And then bullet, 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 okay? More interesting, not so specific, not giving away too much information. As Sean always likes to say, you don't want to give away the farm. You don't want to show everything that's in the product. You still want to leave room for someone to be intrigued by it. There's a secret bonus by the end of the course, and you'll get a certificate too. Okay, again, what I want to credit you on is you are trying to think about, okay, what have I seen in good copy and how can I replicate that? You've seen these kind of headline complexes. You know you need to provide proof. You know that you want to show that there are specific parts to this. You know there needs to be a section where you talk about the modules. You know that you should add things to the offer so it seems more attractive. Like, there are things you're doing well here. The execution just needs to be improved. Another video. Again, you can't just put video. Why is there a video there? What is it doing? Oh, these are all videos. Okay. Why are these just kind of teasers for the modules? I'm not sure. Let me know. You don't want to miss out on this bonus at the end of the course. It's one of my top secrets that I hide that separated me from other pottery artists. Again, you're thinking along the right lines, like this is almost a bullet, but the execution isn't quite there. You know, to get the bullets better, you should go and watch courses like the free ones that we have on how to write bullets. Get the 90-minute beginner's guide to home pottery now for only $13.99. 7-day money-back guarantee. Join now. From a person who repeatedly built pottery projects from home and is now one of the best pottery artists on the planet. Image of the guru. Guru stack. Okay. So now we've established that this is cash. This costs cash. This is now why it's even more important to tell me where the people are coming from, because I can't give a good critique knowing there's a paid product and I'm not sure where the list has come from. Very famous pottery artist in India, owner of this course. Create this course. Okay, so fine. Like, it's good you've got a guru section on there, and that's always something strong to add to an info product, talking about why the course was created, a bit more information about the guru. But again, like, just talking in a functional way, I would repurpose this and move it up here after you talk about how this has secrets. This is the pottery course of the most famous potter in India, for example. Like, who trained with this person, does all this stuff. Because that way you can still have this, but you can work into the core idea of this page that it's a free course that's been revealed for the first time by the top potter of India, right? So I have realized it's already been half an hour and I've only got through one thing. So I'm going to stop that there. Hopefully I've given you a lot to think about. The big piece of advice from me on this one is go back to the drawing board, plan things out first, make sure you know who you're talking to, what they're expecting, where they've come from, so you can give more context. And then also just go back through your own writing, read it, try to read it in a native frame and see if it does get tripped up when you're reading it, all right? So I'm going to go to the next one now. I'm going to look at chat first. I'm going to try and go through these quicker just so I do get through everyone. So I always tend to spend longer on the first one, especially because I'm explaining concepts for everyone who's watching. Oh, that's a lot of spam comments. Yeah, I'm getting this. Eno, Alex, don't you think that this sales page should follow Evaldo Albuquerque's 16-word sales letter 10 questions? Sure. Like, again, I'm not going to subscribe to a specific framework. 16-word sales letter is a good book. You're going to learn a lot from that if you go and read it. Do I think this one needs to follow everything that Evaldo says? No, not necessarily. But the 10 questions in that book certainly will help you work out what the copy is meant to do, okay? As will other copywriting frameworks. So I'm not going to say that way. It has to be that one, but yes, it certainly will help. Especially, again, something else to kind of, just quickly on that point, like traditional sales letters in like financial, where Evaldo writes, they typically are following certain formulas and structures because that really works in financial. It doesn't necessarily work for every other niche because I'm selling a pottery book for $14. That doesn't mean that I need to talk about every single objection that Evaldo is going to write for in financial, okay? Certainly going to be good, doesn't mean I need to go all out for that. That's the Google slap, right? I'm not sure what that means, but Hough, if you can clarify, you may have been responding to something I said. Sweatflow, that's a horrible name. Does copywriting really work? Works. Yes. But again, like, not being funny, if you're asking people who are copywriters and are watching a stream about copywriting if copywriting really works, we're going to be biased, so we're going to say yes. So I maybe wouldn't listen to us. No, we sell. I feel like I'll get kicked from YouTube if I say that phrase because YouTube are weird like that. Okay, cool. Next, Thanks for doing this, Alex. Hope you don't know a lot. Well, you're welcome, whoever's this was. I can't remember off the top of my head. And they've given context. So already you're my favorite person on this stream. That's a lot of context. This client is an 8-figure restaurant guide and reservation service. They're one of 2 partners for a major food event in Hong Kong and are looking to promote it via a series of email blasts. Interesting. The traffic, as far as I know, is mostly cold and emails they may have gotten from past/present clients. They don't have a newsletter or anything like that. Below is a pre-launch email, the first in the sequence. It will go out on July 16th. Emotions are trying to evoke anticipation and excitement. Prices/discounts and full restaurant categories list will be shared on launch day. So not to be shared in the one you'll critique. Okay. So we can't share any restaurants that are going to be there or price discounts. Fine. Action is right now, we just want them to keep visiting our Instagram for event updates. Okay, so you want to try and elicit a follow, I'm guessing. The email's on the long side because the client wants to cover all the details you'll find there. Okay, cool. First of all, thank you so much. This makes my job so much easier because I know exactly who this is for and what the context is. Specific questions for Alex beyond main critique. I tried to keep the tone super conversational and friendly and to make the email flow well so readers remain engaged. Is it working? Am I successfully hitting the 2 core emotions that the clients want to evoke? Okay, cool. And this is what, 1 email? Yeah, all right. So let me read this. And I'm going to, the first rule of copywriting, if you're listening to this and you want to be a copywriter, listen to this bit, record this bit and write it down. The first rule of copywriting is you do what the client wants. Okay? That's the first rule. Because ultimately, if the client wants something and the client's happy for something, they're the one who pays you, brilliant. Do that. Even if it goes against your copywriting instinct, do what the client wants. If that is not a problem, then your next objective is to do what works and do what is going to make money for the client, okay? Usually, if you're good at talking, those 2 things are always in step with each other. Sometimes they can be at odds. If that's the case, just do what the client wants because they're the one that pays you. So just to answer your first question, I don't know if this is going to do what your clients want because I'm not your client. The client will only tell you that when you've submitted to them and they say, oh, this goes for exactly. I can tell you what's going to evoke anticipation and excitement. I can tell you what's going to, or what I think will do. I can't tell you if your clients are going to see it that way. So I will bear that in mind. Subject line options. And remember, guys, this is going to what they think is a cold list. The only bit of context I don't have is how did they get on this list? Do they already know this company in any way? Like, it's mostly cold, so I'm going to assume they don't. They have emails from past or present clients. I'm not quite sure what that means in this context. But what I'm going to assume is that this is effectively list share. It's coming from a company they've never heard of, but we know that they're at least somewhat interested in food because they may have gotten emails from past or present clients. So I'm guessing it's a similar area. That's going to be my assumption. Subject lines. Any questions quick? Okay, I am going to do this first and then I'll come back to that because it's about something else. Subject line options. Get your taste buds ready. The biggest food event of 2024 is coming. Preview text. Open up. Now's your chance to win a juicy prize. Number 2. Counting down to 2024's most epic food event. Preview text. Are your taste buds ready? Chance to win a juicy prize. Number 3. Incoming this year's most epic food event. Preview text. Open up. Your chance to win big inside. Alerting all foodies. Get your taste buds ready. Preview text. 2024's most epic food event is right around the corner. Trending now. Countdown to 2024's most epic food event. Preview text. And how you can grab a juicy prize. Okay, here's my opinion. I can tell you from my experience which 2 emails from those 5 I would test because I think they will do the best. I want to hear if you got, for the 40 people watching this, guess which 2 you think I'm going to pick out. Of those 5, guess 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. Which 2 do you think I'm going to pick? Or which 2 would you pick? Which 2 would you think would do best? I'm going to give you a minute to think about that as I read this other question. YouTube comment. I was wondering if you could nudge Lindsey. Check a question in prior chat. Showing helps and then 1, 2 things like that. Throw email. That's no problem. I will ask Lindsey for you. Lindsey is super busy. Don't feel bad for asking at all. Like, but Lindsey's super busy right now. I think she's abroad currently as well with her family, but she's got like so many launches and things to do and businesses to run. So, like, it's not you. It's not your question. It's literally just she's super busy. But I'll try and get her to reply. Okay, we've only had one person reply. I'll give one more minute. Okay. I'm just going to answer. Okay, cool. Right. So we've got people saying 3 and 5, 3 and 4, 3 and 4, 4, only 3 because it calls out the reader. All right, guys, good guesses across the board. Pretty good guesses there. From my experience, the 2 that I would test because I think would work is number 3 and number 4. So well done. If you said 3 and 4, good job, guys. Like I'm impressed. For everyone else saying different numbers, like don't worry. This is just my opinion. That doesn't mean I'm going to be right. Okay, like. If you ever see some schmuck on camera say, hey, what do you think? And then you get it wrong, don't worry about it. I've got stuff wrong before when people have asked on camera, okay? It's our opinions at the end of the day. The only way to know that's going to work is actually testing it. So my opinion is 3 and 4. Why do I say that? Okay, 1, this is super intriguing. Incoming. I've seen the tests of this. I've had it on good authority that this works in other niches as well. The eyeballs emoji with some kind of call to interest there, some kind of intrigue, works very well. So, for example, like it's true, 2 eyes, or no way, 2 eyes, as in the eyes emoji, works well. Incoming with the eyes immediately just makes me go like, oh, this is something that might be of interest. Like for some reason, it just works very well because let's be honest, it does look quite intriguing. And then it follows as this year's most epic food event. Now, I saw someone say this, Mohammed, I saw you say this, Defo 3 because it calls out the reader. And that actually is my next point. The reason I put 3 and 4, the reason 4 I think does well is because it immediately calls out the reader, just as this one kind of does with saying food event. I've written a lot of emails. I will try and calculate how many emails I've written at some point, but it is definitely in the thousands. Maybe tens of thousands. I don't know if that's too many, but like it's definitely in the thousands. And something I see consistently, like of all the emails I've written, okay, the ones that almost always do the best are the ones where you're focusing on something relevant, something you already know about the reader. If you just throw that out at them, especially if it's a cold list, they're probably going to open it, you know, as compared to other ones. Now, incoming and alerting all foodies. 1, this is intriguing. That's why I picked that. Alerting all foodies. If you consider yourself a foodie, you're probably going to be like, okay, well, yeah, I'm a self-declared foodie. I want to see what this email is about. That's why I would pick 3 and 4, personally. Doesn't mean the others might not win. Trending now might be an interesting thing. I've never used that personally, so it might be interesting to see. But alerting all foodies, get your taste bud ready. Now, get your taste buds ready, and this is something I'll say here, is that is fluff copy. You could certainly try it, but this is the kind of thing that brands like to see, and they might go like, oh, that was really good copy. Oh, that was so fun, interesting, quirky, cute, funny, whatever. Point is, get your taste bud ready. Doesn't really tell me anything, and it's making me do the work to assume that I have to be interested in food to open this thing. So it's just quite a generic, very kind of e-com focus, like every snack brand would do that kind of thing. So that's a bit annoying. But of those 5, these are the 2 that I would give. And one other reason that I would say this is because the preview text of this one in particular starts with 2024's most epic food event. Another subject line that I would try, because you said this is Hong Kong. You said it's localized to Hong Kong. I assume it's localized to Hong Kong. It may not be. I'm going to assume it is. I would say Hong Kong's biggest food event. Like, get ready to register, okay? Or incoming or whatever. Reason being is that a food event, okay, and this is where we cycle away from the copy a little bit. Who's going to be interested in going to a food event? Well, people who are foodies, number 1. And that's pretty much it. maybe if you're in the area and you have some time, you might go. Or if you see something that's really interesting there that you really want to see, you might go. Ultimately, the only people who are probably going to make time for a food event are people who get excited by seeing the words big food event. Like, so put that in front of them. Just look very clearly, very plainly, 2024's Hong Kong's biggest food event, or the best food event of 2024 coming soon. Right? Like, that at least gets me interested because I already have a vested interest in that kind of thing. So I would just start one that just starts with that. None of the kind of counting down, none of the get your taste bud ready, none of the fluff. Because the other thing about emails is, remember, there's finite amount of space. So you want to make sure the most important point is at the beginning of that email. Subject line. So that's my feedback on that. Let's see if anyone agrees with me. Ela said, I knew I will get it wrong. Ela, look, okay, you're a beginner, all right? Even if you're extremely experienced in all of this, it honestly doesn't matter, I promise you, okay? Everyone has different opinions. I'm not saying that I'm 100% right, but you will learn all of these things as you go further and further in your career. Nothing to be embarrassed about. Alex, can you create a course about copywriting and or funnels proposal, please? Proposal. What does that mean? Do you mean like how I would pitch it to a client? If you could clarify what you mean there. Okay, anyway, so that's my advice on subject lines. Body copy. Mouth-watering flavors, endless menu choices, unforgettable memories at prices you'll love. Just a few things your foodie side deserves. And they're all headed your way as Hong Kong Restaurant Week Summer 2024 kicks off in style on July 23rd, just 7 short days from now. I'm already going to tell you that this copy is fine, okay? Immediately I can tell this copy is fine for what you're trying to achieve, like this works. What I would say to you immediately, if you want this email to do well, this is going to sound counterintuitive, but again, believe me, I've seen the evidence time and time again. Based on these subject lines, people are already going to know what this email is about. It's about a big food event. And, you know, they're probably going to be somewhat interested in it if they open it in the first place. Therefore, most likely, they're just going to want to click through to what the point is, what you really want to do, how do I book tickets or whatever, okay? I would actually, now the client may disagree with this, but if you wanted the best results and you wanted the most people visiting your Instagram page to follow or keep up to date or whatever, at the top of this email, I would have a graphic that has a mock-up of the event with the dates and with a big CTA, just saying like, follow us on Instagram to so you're the first to know when it goes live or whatever. Or first to know when tickets are live. That's what I would do. I would have a big graphic at the top, looks really cool, has this kind of exciting stuff in it, fireworks, whatever you want, with a very big clear CTA for the person to say, if you're interested in this thing, do this thing. Because what you'll find, and I've seen this, even if someone will be interested in the stuff you've got to say, if you're not saying it quickly and if you're not saying it kind of up here, so many of them won't be bothered to scroll down and read all this stuff. So if you have that kind of key CTA for an email like this, where you're just trying to get them to do one specific thing, just give them the option at the top just to go straight to Instagram or straight to book tickets, whatever CTA you already have. That's my genuine opinion of what works. The client might not like that because they may say, well, you're not telling anyone about it. All right. But ultimately, if you're looking for people to follow you on Instagram to get event updates, that's probably what would work best because people don't have a lot of time and they want to just say, yep, I'm interested in this thing. Take me to how I can be more interested in it. So that's my advice as a conversionist, but not necessarily something that you should do if you feel like the client has specifically said, no, we want you to talk about this. So I'm going to critique this in a more of a brand sense of just saying, is this good? Does it make me feel better about the brand? And is this nice? Is this a nice email? Next week will mark the biggest HRKW edition in history, featuring more restaurants than ever before, 300 plus total, including 70 exciting new entrants. This means you'll gain affordable access to more drool-worthy meals at elite award-winning restaurants, sought-after signature dishes served at trending restaurants run by celebrity chefs, the most in-demand, all-time favorite selections from local and foreign cuisines alike. In short, all your cravings and guilty pleasures, sweet or savory, are set to be satisfied. Bookings will begin at 10 a.m. sharp on the 23rd. Queue for you to add the date to your calendar. But that's not all. Because beyond getting your hands on amazing discounts that we'll reveal next time, right now you have the rare chance to treat yourself and the special someone in your life to a free intimate dinner for two at any of the world-class restaurants on our list. All you have to do is scroll over to our Instagram and guess the exact number of restaurants participating in this HRKW edition, HKRW edition. The closest guesser claims a prize. Simple, right? Get your entry in today, rooting for you to win. Then check back each day to see if you've won, plus join us as we reveal more and more restaurants in our exclusive lineup. You'll fall in love with each announcement, we promise. Not convinced? See if a sneak peek at just a handful of our spectacularly new joiners changes your mind. Okay, I'm going to keep going and then I'm going to read. If you're hot set on Italian food, Michelin star Tosca, God, I'm not good at pronouncing things, is the perfect dinner spot for you. Melt in your mouth dishes, a view to behold, plus a 24 to 28% discount. Was what that was meant to be. You can always find more Italian goodness to tingle your taste buds at Penna Moon Garden. Then there's where you'll enjoy the most rich and tender Wagyu beef. Fancy. Okay, right. I'm going to stop there. Just because, like, this, I'm going to tell you this is all very nice. It's very well written, okay? So in terms of this question up here, I'm trying to keep the tone super conversation friendly to make the email flow well so readers may engage. Is it working? You've done very well. It's very easy to read. It comes across as friendly. It comes across as nice. It's not corporate. It's not janky. It's not horrible to read. Okay, this works. So well done. To be completely honest with you, I don't think it would serve me much good to sit here and say, oh, if you slightly change this word or use a sentence, because ultimately it's not going to have any fucking impact on the email, and you're already clearly good at writing in that style. So well done. That's good. What I am going to say, now I've got a bit more context on this bit, you want them to follow or just guess, right? Okay, so I'm guessing you want them to follow and you know, comment or whatever. I would, like I said earlier, in that graphic that I would put nearer the top, I would just say what the big event is, and then just say your chance to win free meal at Michelin star restaurant, and then just like 3 bullets, or you know, 1 step, 2 step, 3 step, like click here to go to our Instagram, guess how many restaurants are at this year's event, like just comment on the latest post, and then 3, check back each day to see if you've won. Okay, there you go. Like that's how you do it. Whatever the actual specific offer is, make that very, very clear and obvious at the top, next to that exciting graphic so people know what it is, and then have the big CTA at the top so people immediately open this email up, then they go, yep, I want to do that. And knowing what that is now and having read a bit more context to this, I would actually go back up to the subject lines. And another that I would throw into the mix, depending on how much you want to, you know, share the event, I would make more of a deal about this free star at Michelin's free meal at Michelin star restaurant. I would make more of a deal of that. I might have that as the main subject line. So win and free are 2 trigger words for emails, so you have to be slightly careful about that. But having it in the preview text, as you've done, like grab a juicy prize, we definitely call it a prize, like chance to win big, that's fine. I actually think this would probably get better engagement if in the subject line and the preview text, yep, you mentioned the event, you also mentioned specifically that there's a chance to win a free meal at a Michelin star restaurant. Just because that is a very clear and obvious and easy to understand offer that more people would probably then open that, see that you've got a nice graphic and an easy offer and CTA to get to that point, click on that immediately, and then comment on Instagram, which at the end of the day is the primary, you know, point of this whole thing. I would have that at the top, and then you can still bleed into the rest of this copy down here. But all in all, yes, this is good copy. It reads very well. I would say that the offer section might need to be a little bit clearer, and I would bullet point this. I would also move it up like I discussed, but I would bullet point this. Something that I actually don't see copywriters do enough is using bullets. And I don't mean fascinations like I spoke about earlier. I just mean like simple bullets just to help break up long kind of blocks of text. And if there is a simple 1-step, 2-step, 3-step process, or there is a list of things, it just makes it far easier for someone to read, and it makes it far easier for the email to be skimmed, which is how most people are going to read this anyway. So that is what I would say. Does it need to be a graphic at the top? Not necessarily. Like, for example, if the client doesn't want to put a graphic there, if you don't have the facilities to create a graphic for some reason, then you can just do it in text, but I would have at the top just say, like, you can learn, even just say very obviously, like, you can learn more about the biggest Hong Kong food event down below, but most importantly, here's how you'd win a Michelin star restaurant at the event itself. Win a Michelin star restaurant. Win a Michelin star meal at the event itself. Simply 1 step, 2 step, 3 step. Link to Instagram. Click here. Plus, like, even if you don't win, you can still enjoy all this stuff down below. So even if they don't want a graphic, you can still have like a small section at the top, even just cut off from the rest of it. So very, very easily and very obviously, I can see what the offer is, and I can try and move as many people through as possible while still having the rest of the copy there, which builds the brand and makes things sound nice. Does that make sense? I haven't looked at the chat in a little while. Alex, do you design and write your e-commerce emails, or do you only do the copy? Thanks. I have and do a number of those things depending on what project I'm on or working with. As it stands right now, I usually just write some ideas, and then my junior copywriter will then write it, and then my designer will design it. Often I will then just write one myself because I have a very specific idea that I want to do. Sometimes I even do the graphics myself on Canva quickly if I really just want to get something out. But usually I'll give it to other people and say, hey, here's the idea. Here's what I would suggest. Go and do it. I'll then review the copy before it goes out, obviously. I'm now at a point where copywriting is not my main thing. I've gone from copywriting. I'm now head of marketing. So I just, delegate and make sure that people are doing things well and then review. Of course, I still write my own stuff. But broadly speaking, I've done all of it over my career. I think it's quite a good skill to have, to be able to use Canva relatively simply, and to be able to know how to do drag and drop on Klaviyo or MailChimp or whatever. But it depends on who I'm working with and what the project is the truthful answer to that. Oh, okay, right, I see what you mean. So that was in relation to your last comment. We will consider doing that. I actually there is a masterclass in the CCC, which is about exactly that, which is about how to onboard and manage clients, which goes through that exact thing. If you have the CCC, you may not have the CCC, so maybe we'll try and make a lighter free version of it. But if you are in the CCC, go and look at that. Oh, I'm not even explaining any of this stuff. The CCC is, there should be a link in the description. It's the Copywriting Career Co-Pilot. It's our course on getting more clients. If you don't have any clients right now, or you can't afford it, you don't need it. You don't need to spend money on any course. It's only if you have money to spend on a course / you already have clients, it just shows you how to do it better. If you do have the CCC already, go and look for the Onboarding Clients Masterclass. If I put myself in the foodie shoes, I also want a quick CTA after the subject line. Everyone does. Everyone wants a quick CTA. This is not me telling you okay, every email you write now must have a CTA at the very top. All I'm saying to you is, time and time again, CTAs above the fold perform better. If you're having a the only times I wouldn't is when it's super important that we build the narrative in the email first, because it's more of a message that needs to be built up. Alex, can you still have the big image and CTA suggested and have the copy? Yeah, so that is what I was suggesting, just to clarify. So I didn't mean replace the copy with that. It's just, if you've got a clear offer and you've already spelled it out, make sure it's accessible very easily at the top. How do I join the Discord? There should be a link in the description below to our Discord. If there isn't, let me know. I'm not even a foodie, but I'd love to win the free dinner at a Michelin star restaurant, 100%. Thanks for this, Alex. I love the idea of putting a graphic at the top. I'll float the idea to client. Good, I'm glad it's helped. Love all the other suggestions as well. Very easy, thank you. No problem. Alex, is this possible? How is it possible to be one of your juniors? I'm not taking on juniors right now. Maybe at some point in the future. I'm currently resigning from my in-house role to go and do a bunch of e-commerce stuff and do stuff for myself. And hopefully a bit more with Copy That as well, just because I've neglected Copy That and I need to give you guys more content. But I will put out a shout if I'm ever looking for juniors. How do I get good at copy fast, Alex? Well, Sarth, go and watch the 101 series on this YouTube channel, and that should explain hopefully everything. It's possible to get good at copy somewhat quickly. I'm not saying you can do it overnight. But your best bet is hopefully by following the stuff we've already put out for free. Alex, could you zoom in a bit more? Yes, I will. Okay, we've answered that. Thanks a lot. No worries. Hopefully it is down there. Link in the description, I think. Thank you, Andrew Tate. Okay, you don't need to keep asking that. W Alex, thank you. Ecom Adventure soon. Maybe e-com adventure soon, maybe. I'm not promising anything. I will certainly be doing stuff with e-commerce, that's for sure, and I will be sharing more masterclasses, etc. on it. Okay, I'm gonna have to stop reading questions because again, we only have an hour left, and I have far more that I need to get through. I am gonna need to fly through these a little bit. Okay, fine. I don't have the context for this, but I'm going to just read it. The Breakthrough Project, how to get rid of your anxiety in 90 days. Book your free 10-minute call down below. Book your call, does it sound like... Okay, let's have a look at the headline complex again. The Breakthrough Project, okay, intriguing. But my assumption, based on what the rest of this says, is that you're going to be teaching people how to get over anxiety. Now, anxiety is an extremely personal thing. It's also something that is horrible to go through and that the reader really wants a fix from. Calling it a project kind of makes it sound like it's, to me at least, makes it sound like that this is something that isn't quite finished or this is experimental, which is not something I want to hear. I want to hear that this is a clear-cut thing. That's just the first thing I picked up from this as a reader in my copy brain, so might be worth rethinking that. Nothing wrong with saying breakthrough. Breakthrough is obviously a popular word. Project makes it sound a bit more like it's kind of less certain or it's less official. How to get rid of your anxiety in 90 days. Okay, well, good. That's a very, very clear claim there. And again, you're time boxing it. And if I'm anxious, then this may well be relevant to me. Book your free 10-minute call down below. But let's look at the 4 U's. Is this ultra specific? Not massively. It says 90 days, so a little bit. Is it useful? Yeah, it's useful because I want to know how to get rid of my anxiety in 90 days, so that's good. Is it unique? That's intriguing, kind of unique, but again, like there's nothing there that really shouts out to me that I can't get this anywhere else. So, less so. I've just closed the other one. And then, is it urgent? Well, again, like you've got time frames in there, but there's nothing that means I have to act on this right now. So, does it pass the 4 U's? No, it doesn't. How could this be made better? Well, be more specific, first of all, in what this is. How to get rid of your anxiety in 90 days. Okay, well, if it was that easy, surely I would have done it. Why is this different? What's the method? Is there something more you can allude to in here? Just have a look at other sales letter headline complexes to see what kind of more ideas you could get. Urgent. Is it urgent? Well, I would be leaning on the fact that it's 90 days. I would say, like, if you start now, you could be anxiety-free within just 90 days. Or you could be anxiety-free forever within just 90 days. That is kind of attaching an anchor to why I need to start now. If I start today, in 90 days' time, I won't have anxiety anymore. So that makes it far more urgent to me in a more obvious way. So that way, you could make it more ultra-specific. You could make it more urgent. Is this useful? Yeah, it's already useful. And is this unique? Again, kind of. But you need to show me why it's more unique. Why is this something that I won't have seen elsewhere? Are you a clinical psychologist? Is this something that usually is behind a paywall? Is this something that hasn't been shared before? Is it something that you've only revealed to students, for example? All these kinds of things that would make it feel far more like it's unique and I can't get it anywhere else. So that's just a quick critique on the headline complex. Does this sound like you? I like it. Not a bad way to start the next section. And already this is easy to read because it's a bunch of bullets, so that's fine. And this is just affirming and calling out the person you're reading. So let's see. Purposefully taking the long route of the mall to avoid the petitioners. That's a very weird one to start on. Like, do people know what the word petitioners means? I feel like people are too stupid to know what that means because that's kind of it's not a very common word. And also, this maybe isn't the most relatable point I'd start with. Rehearsing your Starbucks order 20 times so you don't mess it up. Cool. An unnecessary amount of anxiety when someone is calling you or you have to make a call. That would be the top one. Like that, because how many memes have you seen online about that? Like, It's a very, very human emotion, very something that really people can relate to. People start to dislike you because you're weird or boring. Someone didn't respond to your text message, so they hate you and never want to talk to you again. The cashier gave you back the wrong amount of change, but you don't want to be annoying, so you don't say anything. Being in fear as soon as you wake up, and it ends as soon as you close your eyes. Okay, so I quite like this structure. Does this sound like you? If it does, here's what you need to listen to. This is just a very, very long call out. This is affirming what this is implying, which is that, hey, if you're anxious, I'm going to help you. This is saying, look, if you do any of these things, you're also implying that there are going to be solutions to these things. Very powerful message to have in copy. So I like this structure. We'd maybe take out a few of these that aren't as relevant and maybe heighten up the ones and kind of punch up the ones that are going to be super relevant, but like this. If it does, here's my message. I created this breakthrough project because I was a person who suffered the same things you're going through right now. Again, seeing more of that savior complex that we spoke about earlier, where, look, I've been through this, I'm coming back to give you a solution. For me, it all started at the age of 13. My aunt, my precious aunt, who was my favorite member of the family, decided to take her own life. Heavy. I remember when I got the news that evening, I just went out and got drunk, and that's how it began. Drink after drink, cigar after cigar, it became a habit. I was drinking and smoking all throughout my teenage years. I'd work for 70 hours a week and then sleep for 2 hours. That was my life until I hit the age of 20. Okay. Now what this is doing is it's going for effectively, I'm not sure what kind of lead you would call this necessarily, like, because it's clearly a promise lead, because it's, saying like you're going to get this thing. Kind of benefit focused. But it's then really picking up after this section, it's then picking up on a story. One problem I have with this story, I'm imagining myself as I'm quite lucky in that I don't, me personally, Alex, like I don't personally suffer from anxiety. I'm putting myself in the shoes of someone who does suffer from anxiety. I know people who do suffer from anxiety. The thing that I initially think when I'm reading this is, how is this relevant to my anxiety? Most people, anxiety doesn't start because of an event. People are just anxious, or people always grew up like that, or there's a multitude of things during their childhood. So kind of saying like my aunt took her own life, like this started as an interesting like story, and I thought you were going to tell like a thing of like how you remembered a time where you were just so anxious and you couldn't get over it, and you hated yourself and you still think about that, because that's quite relevant to someone who's anxious. This now is kind of becoming like a traumatic thing. You're telling an event and a story. Now, stories are very powerful things. I don't think the story begins or is framed in the best way for the person you're talking to up here, because I haven't really found anything relevant to me as someone who suffers from anxiety, like until it gets to this line down here. That's my honest take on this. This, even though it's written well, doesn't feel like it's going to strike at the core of what I'm thinking as someone who suffers from anxiety. It's taking me it's a bit of a stretch to get through here, when by this point I'm kind of thinking, okay, is this about alcoholism now? So that's my genuine take on it as a reader. But let's kind of move on from here. At the age of 20, I went to college, social studies, and that's where my crippling anxiety has started. Why are these people looking at me? What do they want from me? It was so bad I couldn't properly breathe because I was thinking to myself the silliest things. And it only became worse. At the age of 24, I started snorting cocaine, working even more, and eating junk food. And by the age of 26, it was not just anxiety anymore, my health got worse. I went to the doctor weekly and had no stamina, no hope, and no meaning. But the doctor kept saying I was healthy until one day he just said, you have an anxiety disorder. After that day, I just went home back to my father and decided to stop snorting cocaine, smoking cigars, and then started working out, meditating, reading books. It was a huge shift, and it is the reason I am right now. Here's why this has lost me. One, we talked about the story up here anyway and how it's not being totally relevant. Again, it kind of continues as this is meant to be like a savior story, meant to be, hey, I was where you were once. This is not where I was once. I'm having trouble even relating to this as someone as the average person who suffers from anxiety. Also, you're kind of just saying here that, hey, the doctor just said I had an anxiety disorder and then I sorted it out myself and it was fine. Okay, cool. So the answer is to stop doing drugs, stop having any kind of fun, work out, and start meditating and reading books. Okay, cool. That's the solution. Why do I need to keep reading? So immediately the intrigue from this sales page is gone. And why would I listen to you? Because you've just told me how you came across it. I thought you were going to say it was this specific thing I did. It was this program. It was this idea. It was this daily affirmation that I said to myself. It was whatever. Like we said earlier, you don't want to give away the farm. You don't want to say everything in one go, because then you lose all your copy staying power. The reader isn't going to continue reading because they think you already know what the offer's going to be, what you're going to say. After many years, I still had my ups and downs, and even after I got diagnosed, there were times when things were going so bad for me, I was stuck in a mental hospital thinking I was Jesus Christ. I went to therapy, and every tip I got from that therapy is exactly what I did. I implied it in my life. Not sure that works. And I can safely say throughout this journey, I can do the same thing to you and completely change your life. Here's what to expect. A full recovery, a full blah, 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 blah. See what other people have to say. Will this really work? See what other people have to say, and then there's no other things that people have to say. So fix that. Will this really work for me? This is why we're doing the 10-minute free call to first see if I can help you. Results are guaranteed if you are coachable. There's a few things you've said so far in this. I think, okay, I'll let slide because I'm not a legal department. But saying like you should expect a full recovery and saying like, results are guaranteed if you are coachable. Like, you could argue these are clever ways to like legally put yourself in the clear, but they're very borderline. How do I get started, and how will the process look like? It's easy. All you have to do is click the button to clear things out. Okay, and then the process like this. 1, we get to know each other. Then we plan out our scheduled calls. I show you the 12 bricks to build a beautiful life. This is where your life vision will get clarified and you will be born. Breakthrough. Okay. What is the price and why should I start now? The project costs $5,000. Quitting is not an option here. It's a process I will guide you through, and this might be your best chance to change your life. I'm the guy behind Breakthrough Project. Assuming you've read my message, I used to think I was Jesus Christ. I still laugh at it today. Right now, I'm changing people's lives, and my project is doing success. What are you waiting for? You're just going to sit there and do nothing, have the mundane. Okay, right. Here's the problem with the sales page. Again, there are good things laced within it that I've pointed out. But ultimately, you've now just revealed you're going to charge me $5,000, right? If I'm someone who's not yet convinced by this, and then I see $5,000, I'm not even going to book a call. So you've immediately killed any chance of anyone becoming, why even mention this price here? This could be part of a strategy that you want to disqualify people, but you're not really at a point where you can disqualify people because the copy doesn't work well enough. Because you've not really taken me through any kind of system. You've not convinced me that there is a project that really works. You basically just told me that all you did was kind of read and meditate and you were better. So down here, you start to mention the 12 bricks of life, or whatever it was. 12 bricks to build a beautiful life. Like, okay, good. Why don't you mention that further up and say, like, this is the key for anxiety. These are the things. Then you can rely on fascinations to show, right, these are the things that I want to discuss. Like in this call, even if we decide not to do anything together, you can be upfront and honest. You can say, look, this is going to be a coaching program, and my students do pay. But I want to invite you on a call first, because even if you don't want to pay, or even if this, or even if that, even if you're not sure yet, I still want to give you, by the time you finish a call with me, and then you can do some fascinations, like a new perspective on this, like personal advice based on my own experiences that I will only tell people who join these calls. Make the call feel like in and of itself it is worth something. So the call itself is the offer you're trying to put forward. You need to make that call, because you're not selling a course right now. You're not selling a coaching program or an offer. You will eventually, but right now you're just trying to get someone to book a call. You need to make the call sound worthwhile. You need to make the call sound like it's okay and like it's good enough for me to justify spending my time on it. But you've already said it's $5,000 and you haven't really explained what the system is, or like how really you're in a position to lecture anyone, because so far it seems like you just went mental and a doctor told you what the problem was and you managed to make yourself better, and now you're charging people to help them get better. You don't have any qualifications. You've said that you've done this for other people. You haven't shown me anyone you've done it for. You need to give me more reasons to trust you. This is almost an e-commerce page disguised as a info product page. Like you're asking me to trust a lot here, and you haven't really shown me anything. You haven't given me a reason to believe in the system yet. So there we go. Like, hopefully you can glean some things from that. But that's how I would say that's copy. There's good stuff there. There are good things. I like this structure. It's just the person you're trying to connect with and the story that you're telling, there's just a disconnect there. That they're not congruent together. Okie doke. Quick look at comments. Sir, I am reading books on copywriting, but I want to make money. Any advice, please? We have so many videos on how you can start making money as a copywriter. They're all free. You just need to go to the YouTube channel and go to the 101 series and start watching them. And we give honest advice on what we think about those kinds of things. Am I supposed to remember all the info on the free 5-hour course before starting to make copy? Or am I going to get used to it by my time? You don't need to remember everything, the first time you've watched it, or even the first 10 times you've watched it, okay? Like, go back to it. It's a Bible you can go back to and you can learn from and you can reference as you're trying to learn copy, okay? You don't need to remember all of it at one time. You can start before that. You can start getting, look, put it like this. I was earning money far before I knew all of that stuff, okay? I only put all that stuff to paper, a few years ago, a couple of years ago, when I'd been doing copywriting for a few years. So I was already making money. So no, you don't need to know everything in that to make any money. And just remember, guys, it's never copies, okay? It's always copy or pieces of copy. So it's either I write copy or I wrote a piece of copy or there are a few pieces of copy I'm going to review. Never copies. I say that every time, but I do think it's important because I don't want people to go around there saying copies and looking silly. Yeah, how much remember? You do practice Bechney? I don't know what that is. I'm sorry, everyone. Follow-up question, since you have an idea of how to break down and design an email on Canva, could you explain briefly what to keep in mind? I have a potential client that needs someone to do both. Oh God, email design. So, clarity over everything else. Just go by the basic rules of design, which I mean, make sure the hierarchy makes sense. So the first thing you want someone to read should be the biggest, boldest thing that you have on there. The second thing should be the second biggest, boldest thing you have on there. You don't want loads of stuff trying to vie for attention. Tends to be, look, you should only really have one or two things at any time on the screen that need to be focused on. If you're asking people to have there are 4 different sections on one screen on a phone, I'm talking about phone design here, that's a lot to look at. No more than 2 things kind of per screen to look at. I could probably do a whole video on e-commerce email design certainly, but now is not the time. Just Google it. You'll find good things. Love Alex's background. Thanks, Sean. It's a new look. Need some heavy social proof before spending 5K, 100%. Alex, how do you deal with client changing your copy? Again, at the end of the day, the client's the one paying you, so if they want to change it, let them change it. But if you really want to push back, then you can say, oh, I noticed you've put this. Is there a reason you wanted to go for that? Just so I have an understanding of how I could change in the future. They might say, oh, no, I just thought this. And that can open a dialogue for you to be able to say, oh, I think actually we should do it like this way because X, Y, Z. Hey, does Rioa still work? Yes, Rioa will always work because it's not a method. It's a concept of how attention works and how you should manage someone's attention when you have it. So I would argue, yes, it does still work and it will work forever. Where can I find the free 5-hour course? Sorry, I came in late. If you click on this YouTube channel, if you go to copy that and then you sort videos, my most popular, it will be the one at the top. Do I have to get an iVox summary and Rioa for every copy I write for emails that I practice on? Rioa should be used for every piece of copy that you write, ideally. If you're not, I don't need to use Rioa anymore in the sense that I can just do it because I have been doing this for a long time. But if you're new or you're unsure, every piece of copy you should note down Rioa before you write it, just so you understand what you're trying to write. iVox summaries, or indirect voice of customer data, that is something you collect during the research phase of a project that you work on, or for a whole niche, or for a specific piece of copy. You don't necessarily need to use it every single time you write something because you could just do the research for a project generally, and then you can just write the emails because you already know what the iVox summaries are. So you don't need to go and get new iVox summaries for every single thing you write. It's just part of that bigger research process. Sometimes it's part of a project, sometimes a niche, sometimes just one piece of copy, etc., etc. I agree. Okay. Cool. Next. And I have 40 minutes left, so I'm sorry these are getting quicker, guys. But I'm always like this. Usually I would give all of these the same attention and we go through all of them, but England playing, so I cannot do that. No context, so I'm gonna have to guess. Crocodile leash. Subject line, how I help 27 people lose weight. Preview, it is not what you're expecting, okay? Hey Alex, there's one method I use to help my client lose weight. Now, before I tell you that, let's talk about you. Whether you gained fat during COVID or just grew up as a fat kid, it's not a bad thing because now you know how hard it is to be obese. Getting judged by strangers wherever you go, shopping for anything is hard. If you want to date someone, it's hard to find a match. Now, I'm sure you think of losing weight every time one of these things is happening to you, but you're not able to stick to any of the diet, workout programs, or anything. You may think it's hard, but it really is not. You see, over the past 5 weeks, I've worked with 27 different people wanting to get in shape. Okay. First part of this. Again, I need to know the context for reasons I explained earlier. This is kind of trying to go for like the PASS formula, problem, agitation, solution. You're highlighting what the problem is, you're agitating it, saying all this shit is difficult, and then you're going on to reveal a solution down here. The problem with that is that people who just use PAS, and it's so telling of new copywriters because they just use PAS, and bullshit gurus just fucking they put up PAS if it's the solution to everything. Oh, you should use it everywhere. No, you fucking shouldn't, because it leads to stuff like this. Not trying to dunk on the person who wrote this. It's just, I'm not saying you might not even have used PAS. It may just be a coincidence. But the reason I hate formulas is because they lead to copy like this, where you do the same thing in every email. Like you highlight the problem and then you agitate it, but you waste so much time like agitating it for something that doesn't need to be agitated. Because if you know the person reading this is a big fat person who wants to lose weight, you don't need to remind them that childhood was hard. You don't need to remind them of all this shit. The last sales page we looked at was just affirming that, hey, I'm calling you out if you have anxiety. I understand all these things you go through. It's showing like I get all these problems, okay? It's affirming that. It's calling you out saying, look, if you do any of these things, this is the thing for you. This isn't like affirming or calling out, hey, you're obese because, oh, I understand how hard it is to do all these things. This is kind of just dunking on a fat person saying, oh, isn't it hard to do all this shit? They know it's hard. You don't need to remind them it's difficult. Like, if they're already wanting to lose weight, saying all this stuff is not going to help that. That's one of the reasons I hate PAS, because so often it leads to lines and lines of wasted copy. I'd be happy to talk about it at length, but I will move on because we're running out of time. So that's the first thing I'd say about this. You may think it's difficult, but it really isn't. You see, over the past 5 weeks, I worked with 27 different people wanting to get in shape and lose weight and fat. Now, this is not just made up BS. Look at some of them. Guessing there'll be images here. The list goes on and on. What is our secret? What is our secret? It's not any magic pill, supplement, not any special training program. It's giving people the attention they need, structure, guidance, support, accountability, and a coaching program that doesn't make weight loss feel like a bigger head wreck. Then bang your head against a concrete wall. Many of my clients are joining my program, leaving FICTs and joining FACTs. I'm not quite sure what that means. That means I have many spots available, but most of them were already booked, but I managed to save 6 spots for 6 of you guys. Now, I won't waste time. Click here to join FitX. I will see you soon. Bye-bye, Crocodile. Okay, let me tell you something. Like, this is decent copy, okay? Like, this is doing the right kind of thing. It's using kind of simple techniques that you'll probably recognize. It's, first of all, it's showing immediate social proof, which, again, if I'm someone who I already understand what I want, this is important because I'm at the point where I'm already convinced I want to lose weight. I need to know that solutions are going to work. Showing me that it has worked for people, great. Using images here, good start. Showing social proof, so immediately you have my attention because, well, it's worked for other people, so maybe it could work for me. What's our secret? Now you're saying you're using what we call not statements. Not statements are meant to disqualify what someone may think it is. So you're saying, well, what's the secret? Well, you might be thinking it's a magic pill. It's not that. You might be thinking it's a supplement. It's not that. You might be thinking it's a really vigorous, intense training program. No, it's not that. Which I wouldn't say special training program. I would say not any like intense, heart pounding or like sweat produce, you can think of better adjectives, but like it's not any really intense training program because no fat person wants to do an intense training program. I don't want to do an intense training program. So like not statements are just meant to show it's not any of these things you think they are. I'm going to reveal what it is. So good. Again, all of this can be punched up slightly like with line edits. And then you kind of reveal what it is. It's giving people the attention they need, structure, guidance, support, accountability, and a coaching program that doesn't make weight loss feel like a bigger head wreck. I like this because you're kind of talking to them on their level and saying, look, we know this is difficult. This is going to give you the very personal attention that you need to make sure this works. And I would hammer home on that point. Like, this is a personally accountable thing for the person who's writing this. You can say, like, your weight loss is my mission. Like, it's someone who will care about it just as much as you will. I think that's a powerful point that you should lean into more. Again, I would probably take away coaching program because you're talking in like copywriting speak. I would call it something specific, whether you want to say, it's a fast track or it's a, it's the FitX method or something. Don't call it a coaching program. Make it sound a bit more exciting so people don't just go, oh, it's a coaching program. Okay. Like, oh, well, the FitX method. Okay, well, it's the FitX method and it sounds like it's something that I would like. So makes more sense. That means I have many spots available. Most of you already booked, but I managed to save 6 spots for 6 of you guys. Yeah, and then you're giving scarcity. So you're saying there's only 6 slots left, so there's a reason. Click here to join. Again, I want to know what am I joining? What am I joining there? Is that, am I joining you for a call? Am I getting myself, am I going to book that slot? Just a bit more context around this button. So again, like this here, this is like decent copy. It's well structured. Again, I would read it out loud to yourself. I would put it through, just make sure kind of a native English person is able to really easily kind of read it and there's no little trips. Like I was tripping a couple of times. Things you can cut out, like many of my clients are joining my main program, leaving fit and joining fat, cut that out because that's just confusing. I don't know what that means. I would maybe dimensionalize this a little bit more. So instead of just saying banging your head against a concrete wall, we'll maybe give a specific example of how that person would feel or what this actually translates into in the real world, just failing at every diet or feeling horrible about not going to the gym, all that kind of stuff. Oh, you're welcome, Fodden. Look, this stuff up here, it's bloated, ironically. It's obese. This in itself is obese. You can cut this down. There's not all of this is needed, okay? How I help 27 people lose weight, I think is a decent subject line. It's specific, it's useful because it's implying that I'm going to learn this as well. It's also quite personal because you're saying it's coming from the person who knows about this and it sounds like you're going to get an inside story. So decent subject line. It's not what you're expecting. Again, it's a not statement up here. So again, I think the subject line and the preview work relatively well. It's just this past section here, this agitation of continue saying, oh, this and this and this. You don't need to put that. It's not adding anything to the copy. And again, knowing where this is going to go, knowing this email is going to go into not statements and go into talking about your method and how it's very different and it's extremely personal. Like I said, I would really lean into this more because that actually does seem quite unique and something that, I find myself personally accountable for your success and your weight loss. This is not just a random guide that you're going to get and then move on to the next one. This is, I want to see you lose weight and I'm going to help you. Knowing you're going to lean into that, up here again, I would pre-frame that by saying, look, there is only one method every single person I've worked with has ever needed to lose weight, right? And it's the thing that I do and it's different to anything else I've seen out there. So you can write it slightly better worded than that, but if you start with that kind of frame, again, it's just getting me in the mind of this is something I've never seen before and it might be something different and unique. Fantastic. Don't need to mention all of this stuff here. Okay? So that is what I would say for that one. Oh man. Questions. I'm sweating in here. It's so hot and I can't open the door because otherwise you guys will have background noise. Emmanuel and DUC both ask, how can I send the copy? You can only send the copy if you're part of the Copy That Patreon. This is copy from members of our Patreon that we review every week or every 2 weeks. Okay. Now, has this person given me access? Hey, they have. 30 minutes, which means 25 minutes because I need to go to the toilet and I need to, get myself ready. So 25 minutes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. what's 25 divided by 6 people who are smarter at maths than me? What's about 4 minutes, I think. So let's do this. Let's time it. It's 28 now. We've got till 32 to do this. All right. This email was lifted to a sales page. A sales page sold a low-ticket course for corporate leaders on giving better feedback. Estimated target market age between 40 and 60 Americans. 40 and 60, they're Americans. This was sent a few days after links to the high-ticket offering. This email got 10.2% as a click-through rate against total open rate. I'd like to know if there's a way I can make this 15 to 20%. Thanks in advance. Okay, so this is actually an email that's already going, and it's to some degree at least working. So that's good to know. It's a lift to a sales page. The sales page sold a low-ticket course for corporate leaders on giving feedback. This was sent a few days after a sequence leading to the high-ticket offering. So what we can assume is that people have either already seen the sales page and decided against it, or they are just yet to click. Now, the first thing I would say to you is, if you're in control of how these emails are sent, I would separate this out into 2 different emails. Number 1 goes to people who haven't opened any of your previous emails. So they have no opens yet, because that just means they haven't even seen like the sales page at all. Or at least, or clicked through. So opens or click-throughs, none of that. Or people who have clicked through and have seen the sales page. If you're able to break down into those 2, people who've seen the sales page, people who haven't seen the sales page, I would write 2 different emails for them. But for now, I'm just going to read this one. Thanks in advance. Subject, being liked versus being respected. Body, many leaders want to be liked. It's a natural human desire. We want the approval of others. But as a leader, wanting to be liked can and will get you into trouble. If your team sees you as a friend rather than a leader, they may not respect you and therefore will not listen to you during hard conversations. Don't get me wrong, you must empathize with your team. I've had to manage this conflict, and in my many years as a leader with Amazon and other companies, I've learned how to be direct while still showing compassion and empathy during feedback conversations. I'd love to teach you how to do the same for less than a full tank of gas. Click here to unlock feedback which will make your team want to work for you. See you on the other side, Greg. Okay. Decent lift, not bad. How can you increase the click rate of this? Okay, the first thing I'm gonna say that you should do, and this comes with splitting the email into 2. Move this link higher up so it's above the fold. Just like I said earlier, you can still make the copy sound good and there be a narrative, but you can also have it be higher up. Literally, even if you didn't change anything else in this email, you can still have this link down here as well, but just add another line or add a hyperlink. For example, like, I don't know, maybe it could fit somewhere. If your team, you might have to add a line in to make it work, or you can just hyperlink around a bit. Just hyperlink it somewhere up there, because some people may just click on it, okay? That may just improve the CTR immediately. So, something to think about. Subject line, being liked versus being respected. I would try another subject line. I would test this. It may not work. I would say something like, do your team like or respect you, for example? Or like, does your team respect you? Or they may like you, but do they respect you? Turn it into a question is what I mean. Question subject lines tend to work better. That's what I found. That's relatively anecdotal evidence, but usually I find if there's a statement and a question, the question works better. So I would try testing that. May not work, may work, worth testing. Many leaders want to be liked. And again, I would change all of this to focus more on you. So instead of saying many leaders want to be liked, I would say, like, as a leader, you want to be liked. It's natural. 2 things I would do. I would try and cut this way down. That's going to be my biggest piece of advice for you here. I think this copy is good. Ask what isn't relevant. It's a natural human desire. We want the approval of others. But as a leader, wanting to be liked. Okay, so you could just say, as a leader, you probably want your team to like you. And then you could even say on the same line, like, which is natural. Or naturally, you want your team to like you. Cut this line. But as a leader, wanting to be liked can and will get you into trouble. If your team doesn't respect you, it makes it much harder to have difficult conversations. I've had to manage it, and then cut these 2 bits. I've had to manage this conflict. You can even cut many of these bits. You see, I'm not going to go through all this because I need to get through the others as well. My point is, though, there are at least 2, 3, 4, probably 4 lines just from these first kind of 8 that you can probably cut, that you can do without. You can maybe reword the other lines to make sure they just sit there. Makes it more readable from the get-go. So straight away, I see that this is a more readable email, and I'm prepared to skim through it more quickly. And I can potentially move the CTA higher to the top. So if you want to improve the click-through rate of an email, 2 main things you can do. Either you test a completely different email, which is something I'd recommend. Try writing this from scratch with a different frame and test it. Or number 2, you do all the conversion optimization things I've just suggested, which is cut it down so it seems a lot shorter and simpler to read, put the CTA above the fold, and A/B test the subject line to see which one gets the most opens, okay? Those are 2 things that you can do. Can I give you an idea of what to write like for that other email? Let me see if I can come up with one in 10 seconds. I would focus this more on the offer other than the outside of like the kind of narrative of why the offer is important. I would say like, I would use urgency or scarcity, and I would start making out that, hey, this offer is not gonna be available for much longer, or there's only 15 spots, by the way. Like, that's what I would do. I would not work on what people might want to hear of the offer. I would instead talk about the offer directly and just say, hey, there's a reason for scarcity or there's a reason for urgency here. That's what I would do if I was testing a completely different email. Hopefully I've given you enough ideas there. I appreciate that there could there could be a lot more. Okay, bang. Context. This squeeze page offering a free ebook about lead generation in exchange for the prospect's email address. Later, the company offering the ebook intends to convert these prospects further by offering a free marketing consultation and then upsell them on a marketing service and implementation for their companies and business. Okay, it's targeted at small business owners and entrepreneurs who already know how important getting leads is. Okay, I've made the ebook, the service, and the funnel up. So it isn't based on a real life company, offer or scenario. The reasons are coming from an email space ad. The reasons coming from an email space ad, okay. I wrote 7 bullets, but I want to keep only 3 to 4. I want to know if there's any bullets that are worth keeping and how I can improve them. Obviously, critiquing the entire squeeze page would help me improve my copywriting skills. Really appreciate what you guys are doing. All right, I will definitely critique the bullets. I will give a very quick skim of the rest of the page. And this has come from an email space ad. So for anyone who doesn't know what that means that within an email that potentially another company has sent, like as a newsletter, they have spaces on that email where other companies can put banner ads and things like that, okay? So that's where the assumption is. For small business owners and entrepreneurs, immediate call out, nice. Brand new free ebook reveals. The counterintuitive set it and forget it system to multiply your qualified leads without spending additional money on marketing. Okay, so I like the call out immediately. Brand new free ebook reveals. I might change this. Instead of saying brand new free ebook, I would say new lead generation masterclass ebook, master ebook, secret ebook reveals. Just because, again, you're getting in another instance of what this thing is about. You're saying upfront lead generation, which is probably a term that they're familiar with. So you've got a call out there, and then immediately below that, you can have another call out just saying, hey, it's this thing you care about. The counterintuitive, okay, intriguing. Set it and forget it. Well, that seems unique. System. Unique and easy, I should say. System to multiply your qualified leads without spending additional money on marketing. Okay, nice. That's a fine headline. Imagine increasing your numbers of high-quality leads exponentially without spending an extra penny on marketing. Picture maintaining leads that significantly boost your customer lifetime value by X%. That's exactly what over 10,000 small business owners and entrepreneurs achieve every single month using an overlooked system that, once set up, automatically delivers only high-qualified leads directly to your pipeline. Here's a sneak peek into this powerful system. Okay, 2 objections I have as a small business owner reading this. 1, how do I know this is going to work for my business? Because, you say small businesses, but is it my business? So I would say this works for e-commerce. Doesn't matter what it is. If you're looking for leads, I can teach you exactly how to get attention. And the second objection I have is if there are 10,000 small business owners and entrepreneurs already doing it, who are they? How do I know that that's true? I would name drop if I can, or I would talk about other niches and industries doing it. So you're kind of killing 2 birds with 1 stone there. Here's a sneak peek into this powerful system. Why getting qualified leads is increasingly difficult and how to turn this into your advantage. Understand the current challenges and lead generation, how to overcome them. Okay. Idea there is okay. The execution isn't great. Don't like it. Why getting qualified leads is increasingly difficult and how to turn this to your advantage. Imagine just changing this in. Go to Clayton Makepeace's Screaming Eagles, Bullets, newsletter, and look at some bullet setups there. Change this into a quote bullet. So it's saying why is getting leads so hard? ! Right? Where others struggle, you can turn this increasing difficulty to your advantage, right? That then makes me go okay, well, I recognize that. It's easier to read because it's got a quote in it. 2, I recognize that, yes, this is difficult. And 3, I can turn it to my advantage. Intriguing. I want to know more. Again, understand the current challenges in lead generation. That's boring. That's just very fluffy, generic copy. I want to know specifics. For example, saying like there's 2 reasons why everyone else fails, but if you understand like this, then you can get around it. That makes more sense than, or that's more interesting to me than, hey, understand the problems and how you can solve them. That's basic. The powerful yet little known trifecta rule. Ooh, interesting. Learn the essential rule that every person responsible for lead generation must follow to consistently generate high quality leads. Okay, better. 5 easy methods to attract your dream customers and repel unqualified prospects. Discover techniques that Russell Brunson shares only with his private mastermind students. Okay, do these people know who Russell Brunson is? Just a question. Make sure they do. 5 easy methods to attract your dream customers and repel unqualified customers. Yeah, fine, not bad. Increase your leads by X% while simultaneously reducing ad spend by 50%. Strategies to maximize your lead generation and optimize your budget. The second half of these bullets it's like a bit of a wet rag, kind of not really injecting much excitement or additional interest in this. You're kind of just saying a generic version of what you've just said. So maybe think about how you can use specific instances to make this more exciting. So instead of strategies to maximize your lead generation efforts and optimize your budget, you could say like why this business, or like why one retail business or one car manufacturing business or whatever, maybe not car manufacturing, but you get my point. Why one X business has managed to, or why 500 X businesses have managed to do X and get Y. Right? Makes it a bit more specific, makes it feel like it's a bit more real. The pivotal factor that drives 80% of lead generation success. Identify the key element that can make or break your lead generation efforts. Again, just take some of these bullets and turn them into fascination templates that we already know from the Screaming Eagle newsletter. All of these are kind of just saying, hey, this thing, this thing, this thing. Turn it around a bit, like, hey, commonly held belief? No. Or you could have, quote, like I said earlier, or you could say, have this problem, here's a solution, or turn X into Y, or are you doing this? A question bullet, whatever it is. Rewrite at least a few of these. You said you want to get rid of a few, so any that I've been a bit meh on, maybe just delete, and then rewrite a couple of them at least in that other template style, okay? Focus on evergreen content tailored to your target audience. Create content that remains relevant. Again, that's kind of something I already know. As someone who's interested in lead generation, I would just delete that. Leverage laser focus strategies. Identifying target leads with the highest likelihood of conversion. Again, what strategies? Is there anything specific there, or are you just saying, hey, use my stuff? Okay, cool. There we go. I reviewed that. Reviewed all of it. So hopefully that was nice. 15 minutes. And we're already behind. Real estate niche for seller's agent. This is a warm-up email. Local ad targeting home buyers. Squeeze page. Prospect single up. Okay, agent name John Doe. Okay, fine, right. This is the real estate niche. It's a warm-up email. So the local ad targeted home buyer. Then they went to a squeeze page. Prospect singled up. Warm email begins. All right, fine. Or signed up, I'm assuming that means. Couple who wants to move into a new neighborhood is asking a survey in the first email too much. I know 2 emails aren't much, but is the evergreen email going in the right direction? Is the prefix on agent's name and SO okay? In the second email, tips on viewing homes, shooting yourself on the foot. You're trying to sell, but giving them info on how to spot bad homes. Second email action. The question is at the second email action section. Okay. Right. First email, welcome email. Subject. Alex, thank you for signing up. Cambridge homes for sale inside. Hey, Alex, thanks for signing up for the newsletter. I'll send you a series of emails to help you find your perfect home and how to move to Cambridge. But first, let's find a perfect home together. And I see that you're interested in Cambridge. I have tons of beautiful off-the-market listings in Cambridge that might be perfect for you. And all we need to get started is to filter all the listings to a manageable list. A list of homes that are exactly what you're looking for. Simply click here to enter filters to get access to stunning homes, including off-the-market things. Then your name. PS, exclusive off-market deals are sold faster than public homes, so why not take a look at it before it gets taken out. Here's a link to fill out the details to see perfect matching homes. I actually like this. I think this is a good email. If it's a warm email, I've just signed up. This subject line is fine. And again, that's ultimately what I'm interested in. So that's good. That works for me. Thanks for signing up. Cool. I'll send you a series of emails to help you find your perfect home and how to move to Cambridge. That's what I want. But first, let's find a perfect home together. I'd maybe change that something like, let's see if we can't get started sooner. because then that just gives me more of an urgent reason to start right this second. I just changed it. I already have tons of beautiful homes listed in Cambridge that might be perfect for you. All you need to do is start, like, just filter below to get started. Now, I think this is a decent email. So first of all, to answer your question, is this going in the right direction? I think this is quite good. I think that this is engaging. You've gamified the email, so it's something I actually want to do. It's relevant to what I'm looking for. There's nothing offensive there. You don't have like much fluff. So good email. I think this is good for what it's trying to do, which is you just welcome them up. You want to get them to put in filters, and you're just getting them to do the survey. So you saying is the survey in the first email too much? Not at all. But something you might want to consider is that in the funnel itself, after they've given the squeeze page thing, you may just want to lead them to that next page anyway, which asks them to do this thing, because you'll get more people to do it. So if the aim is to get them to do this thing, why not just put it on the page after the squeeze page? To say, hey, give us your email, we'll send you some more information, and you can get started straight away, and then you give it to them. Just something to think about in terms of strategy. Tips on viewing homes. Alex, important viewing tips on Cambridge. What to look out for from buying a home in Cambridge. You don't need to necessarily put local area twice. It's okay. Hey Alex, you can't bring home inspector when just viewing home every time. That doesn't make sense, unless you can afford it. So I made this simple yet essential list so you know what to look for even without an expensive home inspector. Again, like the idea of this is good. It's a decent subject line. You don't need to put their first name all the time necessarily. Like that in itself is already relevant to me, so I'm going to have a look at it. But again, like these are simple emails and they're doing a good job. Just need to punch up the copy slightly, make sure it's not confusing. Ask neighbors around. You'll get an unbiased third-party opinion about the neighborhood. Take pictures. You'll be glad to have pictures when trying to remember from memory. Understand cosmetic versus structural. Don't pass on great deals just because of the color of carpet. And for the bonus tip, don't be afraid to ask the agent. I'm here to help you pick your dream home after all. Simply click contact me. Okay, fine. So you saying, but am I giving, one of your questions was, am I giving away too much information? No, this is just a nice little helpful list. I would actually maybe give a little bit more information to this. And also to say up here, like, you can't bring a home inspector. I don't know if that's meant to be you. I'm guessing it is. So you can't bring a home inspector every time. So I thought I'd give you a couple of, and again, I take that off unless you can afford it, because it almost sounds like you're challenging them, like, oh, have you got money? Which is not a great look. Or even just say, instead of saying you can't bring a home inspector when viewing a home every time, just say like, you may not always have a home inspector with you when you're out and about. So here I've put together a few quick tips on how you can judge houses for yourself. Okay, that makes more sense. You're not putting yourself out of a job there. You're not insulting them. You're just saying, I put this together just in case you ever need it. And then I would call this something like underrated tips, or like obvious tips that not everyone uses, something like that, just because none of these are groundbreaking, but it's things just say, I see a lot of people and they don't even do these things. Now, you may already have thought of these, but here's just a quick checklist that might be worth considering. 3 tips, makes sense. And for the bonus tip, and again, you've not actually said that there's a bonus tip. So like, I might say like, there's even a bonus one that I'd like to talk to you about. You can even say that up here. And then at the end, you can say, and for the bonus tip, I'd love to tell you over the phone. It's easier to explain over the phone. That's another reason to call. So that's a great little kind of open loop that you can leave them on. I'm here to help you pick your dream home after all. Click here to contact me and let's find a dream home. So again, decent emails. I think they're doing a good job. I think they're well thought through. I think there are a few things to change and upgrade there. Hopefully that makes sense. All right. Whew. Lift email. Hey Alex, I have 2 short lift emails that need critique. The ideal audience and context, both emails are under there. Hope you have a good read. Context, I'm sending readers to this VSL so that this company can sell a done-for-you marketing service, B2B. This is an email I wrote for a job test early this month. They asked me to write an email sending traffic to the above VSL that would impress them, but I didn't get the job. Okay, quick VSL. Make sure you come by, I've just by the last one, and this is just, okay, marketing done for you, fine. Who's this for? Business owners who are struggling and need to help grow. Subject line, secret to increasing your sales by 500%. Okay, immediately, bad subject line. Why is it a bad subject line? Because I see this all the time. If this is going to a business owner, I see this kind of subject line every fucking day. Every fucking day, someone's telling me about increasing sales. So my first guess is why you didn't get the job is because they probably saw that subject line and they went, it's too generic, okay? If this is a lift, that needs to be something unique, something intriguing that I've not seen before, okay? this secret to increasing sales by 500%, unless it's coming from someone I already really trust, I'm not going to listen to it because everyone is telling me stuff like this, okay? Let me just check. I'm assuming this is a VSL for someone who, this is kind of like, not cold traffic as such, but this isn't someone who you already trust loads, is it? Because then it says, for my lovely readers. It'd be good to have more context if this is going from a newsletter or like how they got on the list again, as I mentioned earlier. But yeah, still, regardless, too generic. Hey Alex, you're one of our lovely readers. Pointless. Why are you telling me that? Fluff. I know I am. Fluff. So I want to make sure that you catch the 7-minute video immediately. Okay. It's a super simple 3-step strategy that virtually throws money into your pocket, and most people have yet to learn about it. I spent everything in this short video. Okay, money for what? Again, I don't have all the context here. Like, you've put a bit of context, but I don't know if this is, have these people worked with this business before? Are they completely enamored by this business? Do they know everything about them? Because if you're just saying, hey, there's a 3-step strategy to throw money into your pocket and it's a 7-minute video, I have no more context immediately to what that is. For what? Money for what? What are we talking about here? And most people have yet to learn about it. I'll explain everything in this short video. As you're about to see, this 3-step strategy is the entire reason why Australia's biggest and most expensive experienced sports news team, Code Sports, was able to increase their sales by 5% in just 8 months. It's also why media giant News Corp, blah, 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 blah. So you're kind of just saying, hey, like, here's a great thing. Here's the proof that it's worked. Go and watch it. But now you're saying, okay, the immediate thing is, it wasn't so bad up here, like, because even though this is generic and it's not specific, and, you know, I'm not really sure why I would be looking at, you know, why I would then click, at least this is intriguing. Again, it's not giving away the farm. It's just saying, hey, here's a thing and it's really good and it's going to help you. Why not see it? Here's proof of how it works. Okay, yeah, fine. This is fine. Good to show proof, and it clearly shows that, you know, you at least can name drop some big people. But now you're saying, hey, it's this 3 simple strategy. It's the easiest way to drive results. It's all done for you. Your business is focused on this system. Now you're telling me what the sales page should be telling me, because now you're starting to explain what the offer actually looks like. You're saying it's a system. You're saying it's done for you. It handles everything. All this stuff is done. So why would I bother now clicking? Because if I just scroll down to like see why the email's so long, and I see all this, it's like, oh, they're just going to try and sell me on like a marketing system. So it's not a good lift, because all of a sudden I'm not going to click because I know what it's about. So it's too vague and generic at the top. It's not specific enough. It's not relevant to, you know, you've not given me a reason why this is unique over something else in my inbox. Yeah, proof is okay, but again, like, the proof needs to be related to something specific that seems like it's going to be worth reading about or watching. And then you give away the farm by saying, hey, it's a system and it's done for you. So not the best lead, but not the best lift. Okay, I'll quickly do this one, and then we've got 2 more. This last one is one that Sean did, and I've already reviewed this with him, so I will quit. Not our Sean, another Sean, who's been commenting in the chat. Something he does, so I will go through that, but I'll go through it very quickly. I can get through these. I can get through these in 5 minutes. Yeah. Okay. Informational newsletter for a gym. I'm just very conscious about missing the kickoff. New Zealand called Compound. The job is not to create a lift email, but in one of the newsletters I rewrote a section following lift email principles, so I want to critique on it. There's no link to click nor any products to promote. I just want to include this as a lift practice. You can treat this if I'm sending to a sales page of yourself. Okay. Sorry. Okay. This one superfood allows you to, maybe this will work because it's kind of intriguing, but you're basically saying, you're not even talking about the benefit, you're just talking about the mechanism without any attachment to the benefit. So why would I even be interested in this? Like, allows me to what? So it may work because it's semi-intriguing. My gut tells me it probably wouldn't work though, because people would just ignore it because that's not giving me a reason to click on it straight away. I need to know, like, if it's something I'm actually interested in. So not a good subject line, I would say, but who knows? Train an extra session every single week. Might be more interested in that because perhaps training more sessions is something I'm interested in. So if that's the case, then this subject line is good and it's something I would look at. Hey Alex, look what we found. We discovered one superfood that contains more magnesium, chromium, iron, and zinc per serving than any other food. This study revealed that athletes who consume this one superfood lowered their oxidative stress by a whopping 21.29%, meaning they can train 20% more. Too many percentages, right? Like, again, you can even just repeat what you've set up here or dimensionalize this. They can train a whole extra day a week, for example. So, but in simple terms, that's about 0.94 extra training sessions per. Oh, there you go. Delete that. Keep that. Almost one more session every week and 52 more sessions every year just by eating this one superfood. So what's the secret behind the superfood? Hey, much better lift email. Much better. You're talking about a single idea, something that's specific, that's intriguing. You seem to have stats to prove it. I'm intrigued at what it is. Again, I'm hoping that this study is just going to link to the same place as this. It should really, because you don't want to have two different CTAs going to different places. And then within this, you include what the study is. You dimensionalize why this is good, and then you provide the link, okay? Is this following Dick? You disrupt them by saying, hey, this is one thing. You intrigue them by, okay, well, yeah, that sounds cool. And then you offer the click. Yes, you are. Could it be punched up? Maybe a tiny bit, but good lift. Okay, guys, fuck me. I'm gonna even skip the toilet, okay? That's how much I care for you guys. Email for a company that sells a health supplement in the form of a powder made of mushrooms. You mix into the water and drink it as to your coffee. It's supposed to make you focus and calm. Emails to people who have signed up for the newsletter but haven't bought anything yet. They've received the first email with a 10% discount code after signing up, so this is the second email. How to stress less. Tranquility is just a cup away. Hi, name. You might have asked yourself, can mushrooms really have an impact on my stress and anxiety? Trust me, I get it. Okay. If they've already signed up and they had discount code and this is the second email, I would focus this more around the mushrooms and the objection. So the objection they may have is that do mushrooms really work? That seems to be what you're going for. I would actually say, do mushrooms really work? Question mark. Probably going to get a lot more clicks because it's something they're already interested in relatively. You might ask yourself, can mushrooms really have an impact on my stress and anxiety? So again, you're then addressing the objection directly. And trust me, I get it. I was skeptical myself, but I was struggling with severe panic attacks, anxiety, and stress for years of pushing myself too hard. I was desperate, and then I finally tried it myself. I was amazed how good I felt. This isn't something new or something that I'm the first to discover. Did you know that trying to do too much? Okay, you're talking about myself and how good this is. Then you're bringing in the fact that loads of people used to use it in ancient times. I would just focus on one angle, and I think the angle would be I was also, unsure. What's the word? Skeptical. I was also skeptical, but I tried it, and trust me, it's amazing. I would then probably go and say, and so did all these people. So this email becomes all about getting over that objection. You say, me personally, look, I understand you. You can sympathize with it. I've been there myself. Plus, here's all social proof of people going like, yeah, oh my God, this is amazing. Don't start talking about Chinese medicine because it just gets a bit confusing. Cool, right? You can read more about, yeah, again, wouldn't do that. It makes me happy to see these blends changing every day's life. Again, I would move this up here, have pictures and little testimonials saying, yeah, I couldn't believe this worked. It was amazing. Really changed my life. And then just a click to order, okay? That's how I changed that email. That was a quick review, but actually probably, I think, an extremely impactful review if you make those changes. Because, again, good ideas, but you just need to do some cutting yourself and then punch it up a little bit according to how I've just laid out. All right, last thing. Sean, I'm going to read this quickly because I've already gone through this with you. So, hopefully, this is technically the second review you're getting, so hopefully you're not too mad at me. Hi there, Alejandro and Rocchio. Congrats to both of you who are so pro. And by the way, guys, this is meant to be an audit, a script for a video audit. So Sean will be talking to the camera, hoping they would read it. Congrats to both of you who are so pro human rights and so pro mental health. My wife was abused by her mother for all her childhood and for several years of her adult life. I have a relative that struggles with mental health issues that sometimes get judged when discussing it. Again, I would link this to why you like this. Don't just say those things. Say so it's really nice to see you guys doing it. Noticed you all had a great A+ rating, but it's at the bottom of your site where nobody can see it. It would look so much better at the top of the site where prospects and customers could see it instantly, building more trust for your company. Okay, Sean, you're coming in too quickly and too strong with just giving them advice. You need to, I know you will have sent the message here saying I recorded the short video for you, but you need to add, but even here, you're not actually giving context around what this video is for. You need to give that context because you're just a stranger talking to them at this point. You need to say, I'm messaging you because of this. I've made this video for this. I hope it's going to be useful for you. Here's where I'm going to lay out a short agenda, like I say in my masterclass, lay out a short agenda at the start, just to say, I came across you from here. I think your stuff's awesome. I made this quick video because there's a few things I noticed. I just want to talk you through them. And then I've got a proposition to make you at the end, or then blah, 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 whatever you want to say. Point is, set out what you're going to say before so they have context. So you're not just randomly saying, hey, I'm glad you guys are into mental health. My wife got abused. That comes across as a little bit okay, why are you telling us this? Before you start giving advice, okay? Especially before you start giving advice. Love your site's accessible. Love that your site is accessible to the visually, audibly, cognitively, and physically challenged. Unfortunately, it's at the bottom of the site. Okay, Sean, I can actually see. I made comments in this previously, and I can see you haven't actually implemented the comments that I made. You can message me if you don't quite understand like the comments, or put it in the main Discord. And I would actually, this is now shared with everyone in the Discord, so I would share it there so others can make comments as well. But this isn't, there are comments I made that I know haven't been implemented here. So please reread through my comments and ask if there are any that you're not quite hitting with, because I think it'd be better to talk about this in the Discord where we can actually, one, because the football's about to start, and two, because I can already see there's things you haven't applied yet. So it'd be good to see you apply them before I go through and give us a critique, because it's too similar to the last time. Okay, guys, I'm so sorry I'm not going to be able to see all your questions, but if anyone's answered anything, I promise we'll do a Q&A at some point soon. You can always message in the Discord if you need anything urgently, you need to chat. Sorry I haven't looked at all of this stuff. Sorry I had to rush the last few there. I hope it was still of good value. Again, always feel free to put it in the next time if you wanted it critiqued again. I need to go and watch England hopefully thrash the Netherlands in the semi-final. So everyone have a fun night. I will see you another time. Have a good one, and I hope you absolutely make $1 million and kill everything you want to do. Thank you guys. Bye-bye.